Well, good morning, everyone. I will now call to order the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners business meeting on June 4th, 2026. We'll start out. County Administrator Gary Schmidt, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Chair, thank you. First, our staff support today. County Counsel Billy Williams, Clerk to the Board Andrew Jiraki. Roll call, Commissioner Savas.
Present.
Commissioner Helm.
Here.
Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner West.
Here.
Chair Roberts.
Here. All right, thank you. And now stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first up is public communication. Testimony is limited to 3 minutes per person. As always, I ask comments to be respectful and courteous. As a reminder, you can also email submissions for public communication at bcc@clackamas.us, and they'll be accepted as part of the public record. I'll take in-person testimony first, and I turn to our clerk, who's going to help us moderate this. You're on, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a reminder that if you're attending this meeting in person, wish to comment during general public communication about any item that does not have its own public hearing on today's agenda, this is your opportunity to please fill out a blue card and deposit it in the box that can be found by the center doors. First, I have Mr. Les Poole. Mr. Les Poole, please come forward, introduce yourself. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good morning, commissioners and others in the room. I want to thank you for last night's meeting about the Recovery Center. It's a huge project. It's $44 million, and I continue to wish you well. There are some questions that still obviously need to be answered about construction management, traffic impacts. You know, there's questions about what happens when someone in distress shows up in the middle of the night, even though the plan is to operate it with, by appointment. It's not just a drop-in or an overnight center. I certainly realize that, but there are some things that certainly need to be addressed, and having the public involvement and a chance to come and hear back and forth is critical. So I appreciate the meeting and look forward to where this thing goes, and wish you well. I have a message about the election for those that haven't figured it out. And I'm referring to the economy because the economy is always a big factor in an election. I've been involved in statewide and countywide initiative and referendum efforts in the past. I've never seen anything, none of us has ever seen anything like what occurred with the referendum on the tax increases. It got slaughtered in Multnomah County, folks. That never happens. And that referendum was a message that transcended ODOT. It was a big message about where we're at and that folks are maxed out. People have been talking about being maxed out for a few years, but people really are. And here you folks are in budget season. You got more asks than there is money. And so you're in a really tough spot. And frankly, the pressure is on you when there's only so much you can do. You're not the legislature. I frankly am appalled at the governor's conduct over the last year and her handling of transportation. I see she's now appointed another one of her personal inner circle to a position that is in desperate need of help, and that's the director of ODOT. As someone that's spent much of my life in transportation, I understand that the county is reliant on ODOT and reliant on the state and reliant on Metro for funding. So it puts you in a really awkward place because you have to work with ODOT and work with the state, but yet it's a mess. And I want to conclude with a request that at some point soon that the council and planning revisit the issue of diversion traffic if they toll the new I-5 bridge. The latest is that if traffic is diverted from I-5 to 205, it'd be very minimal. But the county has a lot of information that completely refutes that nonsense. And when I-205 becomes a parking lot, a bigger parking lot than it is, our distribution-based economy and access to the airport goes flying out the door. So do what you can. Not here to make a bunch of demands or stomp my feet. And I always appreciate the opportunity to come in and be heard. I try to speak for folks other than just myself.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Poole.
Thank you. This is a final call. If you have not yet filled out a blue card and wish to speak during general public communication, to please do so. Mr. Chair, seeing no other members of the public who wish to speak, who are physically present, with your assent, I'll turn to those who are attending virtually. If you're attending this meeting virtually and wish to speak during general public communication, this is your opportunity to please raise your hand, and I will call on you in the order that I see. This is a final call if you are attending this meeting virtually and wish to comment during general public communication to please raise your hand. Mr. Chair, I see no other members of the public, either physically or virtually present, who wish to speak today.
Thank you, Andrew. I'll now close the public communication, and I'll now recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as a Housing Authority Board, and turn to Gary. What do you have?
Thank you, Chair. You're now meeting as the Housing Authority of Clackamas County. Housing Commissioner Leenstra is not able to join today, so it is just all of you. This is the consent agenda for the Housing Authority. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
Consent agenda for the Housing Authority. Item A, approval of a resolution authorizing the lease of Housing Authority property to Hillside Park Buildings D&E Housing Partners Limited Partnership and designate authorized officer to finalize, execute, and deliver all documents and agreement. Funding is through federal, state, local, and private sources, including $7 million in Metro Affordable Housing Bonds. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the Housing Authority consent agenda.
Right. Do any of my colleagues wish to remove anything? The consent agenda, seeing none, may I have a motion?
I move we approve the Housing Authority consent agenda.
Second.
All right, Commissioner Savas has moved to approve the Housing Authority agenda, and Commissioner Schrader has seconded that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'll now adjourn as a Housing Board and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. Gary?
Next is a public hearing, approval of a boundary change proposal number 2026-002, Sunrise Water Authority. No county general funds are involved. Jeff Munns, Assistant County Counsel, will present. Go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you. This is annexation into the Sunrise Water Authority of a property in Happy Valley at 11060 Southeast 172nd Avenue. It's currently developed as a residence. The petitioner is seeking to have this annexed into the districts for further development, where they plan to develop a 50 to 60 unit residential development. And so they are seeking to replace the well water with water service from Sunrise Water Authority. The proposed annexation meets the criteria in our county code or on the comprehensive plan, as well as ORS 198, and the Metro Code applies to this property because it's inside the metro boundary. The proper notices have been sent. We have not received any objections or any comments thus far to share with you, and staff recommends approval of the annexation.
All right. Looking at my colleagues, do you have any questions? All right, seeing none, I'll open the public hearing on this item and turn to our clerk to moderate those comments again, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If there's anyone present who wishes to comment on this item specifically, this is your opportunity to please fill out a blue card and deposit in the box and be found by the center doors. Mr. Chair, seeing no members of the public physically present, with your assent, I'll move to those attending virtually. If you're attending this meeting virtually and wish to comment on this specific item, this is your opportunity to please raise your hand. Mr. Chair, I see no members of the public, either physically or virtually present, who wish to comment on this specific item today.
All right. All right, I'll now close the public hearing. Check with my commissioners if you have any questions. Seeing none. Is there a motion by my colleagues here?
I move we approve boundary change proposal 2026-002.
Second.
All right, Commissioner Helm has moved to approve the boundary change proposal 2026-002. Commissioner Schrader has seconded that. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, will you please call the poll again?
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Mr. Chair.
All right, Gary, what's up?
Thank you. Next is the consent agenda for the Board of County Commissioners. Before Andrew reads that, Chair, may I say this, or do you want to say this? We're going to remove an item. I can do it if you like, Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
So the District Attorney's Office has an item under elected officials. It's A2, applying for a grant from the Federal Bureau of Justice Assistance. The District Attorney's Office has asked to pull this item. They do not believe, after consideration, this grant would be effective, or would like to not pursue this grant, which is totally their right to do that. Because we've already noticed it, it's on the agenda, and rather I'm verbally saying we're going to remove this item at the request of the District Attorney's Office. So Andrew just will not read it before you vote. So that's the reasons. And with that, Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda minus A2?
Thank you.
Consent agenda for the Board of County Commissioners. Elected officials. A1, approval of previous business meeting minutes for the Board of County Commissioners. 3, approval to apply for a grant from the Federal Bureau of Justice Assistance for the BJA Fiscal Year 25 Justice Reinvestment Initiative, strengthening state and local operations to reduce crime and recidivism. Anticipated award is $2 million over 3 years. Funding is to the United States Department of Justice, and no county general funds are involved. B, County Administration. 1, approval of an updated intergovernmental agreement between Clackamas County and the Clackamas County Vector Control District for the county to provide core services. Value of services provided by the county will be actual costs to be paid by the Vector Control District. Funding is through Vector Control District. No county general funds are involved. C, County Council. 1, approval to designate the newspaper of general circulation in the county for publication of the annual foreclosure list pursuant to Oregon Revised Statute 312.0401. Fiscal impact estimated at $3,800. Funding is through budgeted county general funds. D, Disaster Management. 1, approval of a grant agreement amendment with the State of Oregon for fiscal year 2025 Emergency Management Performance Grant. Total value is $151,140.50 for 15 months. Funding is through Federal Emergency Management Performance Grant and matching funds of $151,140.50 in budgeted county general funds. E, Transportation Development. 1, approval for Sunday School Fellowship, the former property owner, to repurchase tax foreclosed parcel 00630,507 for $2,756.14, which represents the delinquent taxes, penalties, interest, and property disposition management fees incurred on the property to date. No county general funds are involved. 2, approval for Anthony C. and Janet G. Pasqua, the former property owners, to repurchase tax foreclosed parcel 0103286/42E20000200 for $2,846.05, which represents the delinquent taxes, penalties, interest, and property disposition management fees incurred on the property to date. No county general funds are involved. 3, approval of funding agreement between Clackamas County and Greater Portland Incorporated for consulting costs associated with comprehensive economic development strategy development. Total value is $5,000. Funding through budgeted lottery dollars. No county general funds are involved. 4, approval of amendment number 1 to the 2040 Planning and Development Grant Intergovernmental Agreement with Metro for the Zoning and Development Ordinance Diagnostic Report, contract number 939065. Amendment does not change the total agreement value. Total agreement value is $263,000. Funding is the Metro 2040 Planning and Development Grant Program. No county general funds are involved. 5, approval of a grant application to the Federal Lands Access Program for the East Blossom Trail Road paving project. Total agreement value is $893,459.39 for 3 years. Funding is through United States Department of Transportation Federal Highway Administration federal grant. No county general funds are involved. F, Health, Housing, and Human Services. 1, approval of an intergovernmental revenue agreement with Washington County for after-hours nurse triage services. Total contract value is $15,634 for 2 years. No county general funds are involved. 2, approval of a subrecipient grant agreement with Northwest Family Services for Youth Substance Use Prevention Program. Total agreement value is $320,000 for 1 year. Funding is through opioid settlement funds. No county general funds are involved. 3, approval of a subrecipient grant agreement with Todos Juntos for Youth Substance Use Prevention Program. Total agreement is $320,000 for 1 year. Funding is through opioid settlement funds. No county general funds are involved. 4, approval of an amendment with Northwest Enforcement Incorporated for security services at Tukwila Springs Apartments. Amendment value is $221,532.84 for 1 year. Agreement value is $443,065.68 for 2 years. Funding is through supportive housing service funds. No county general funds are involved. 5, approval of an amendment with Just Compassion of East Washington County for supportive housing case management services at Clackamas Apartments. Amendment value is $371,420.25 for 1 year. Total agreement value is $1,114,263.78 for 3 years. Funding is through supportive housing services funds. No county general funds are involved. 6, approval of an amendment to a personal services contract with Northwest Housing Alternatives Incorporated for emergency shelter, supportive housing case management, and rapid rehousing services. Amendment value is $2,082,461 for 1 year. Total agreement value is $6,952,999.25. Funding is to supportive housing services measure funds. No county general funds are involved. 7, approval of an amendment to a subrecipient agreement with STK Community Center for services to older adults. Amendment value is $123,033 for 13 months, with a new total agreement value of $595,101 for 4 years. Funding is the Oregon Department of Human Services and state transportation funds for older and disabled residents. No county general funds are involved. 8, approval of an amendment to a subrecipient agreement with Foothills Community Church on behalf of its Malala Adult Community Center for services to older adults. Amendment value is $154,964 for 13 months, with a new total agreement value of $692,557 for 4 years. Funding is the Oregon Department of Human Services and state transportation funds for older and disabled residents. No county general funds are involved. 9, approval of an amendment to a subrecipient agreement with City of Wilsonville on behalf of its Wilsonville Community Center for services to older adults. Amendment value is $115,627 for 13 months, with a new total agreement value of $474,486 for 4 years. Funding is the Oregon Department of Human Services. No county general funds are involved. 10, approval of an application to the Oregon Health Authority for a Rural Health Transformation Catalyst Grant. Agreement value is $3,900,000 for 15 months. Funding is the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the Board of Commissioners' consent agenda.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
I move we approve the consent agenda except item 4A2.
Second.
All right. Commissioner Savas has moved to approve the consent agenda except for A2. Commissioner Helm has seconded that. Any further discussion? All right. Seeing none, clerk, will you please call the poll?
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
Next, I'll recess as the Board of County Commissioners, convene as the North Clackamas Parks and Recreational District Board of Directors. And Gary, what do you have for us?
Thank you. Next is the consent agenda for the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
North Clackamas Parks Recreation District Board of Directors consent agenda. Item A, approval of land use application materials to be submitted by Monroe Park Middle Housing for the North Clackamas Parks Recreation District owned property located at Southeast 70th Avenue and Southeast Monroe Street. Total agreement value is $0. No county general funds are involved. B, approval of a lease extension with Phoenix Investment Group for the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District Maintenance Shop. Value of the lease extension is $9,801.17 per month for 12 months, plus $262.17 increase for the security deposit. Total extension has a value of $117,876.21. Funding is through North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District General Fund. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District consent agenda.
All right, does any director wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? All right, then may I have a motion?
I move we approve the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District consent agenda.
Second.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Schrader has moved to approve the North Clackamas Park Recreation District consent agenda. Director Helm has seconded that. Any further discussion or comments? Seeing none, clerk, will you please call the poll?
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Commissioner Savis,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I'll now adjourn as the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District Board of Directors and convene as the Water Environment Services Board of Directors. Gary.
Thank you. Next is the consent agenda for Water Environment Services. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
Water Environment Services Board of Directors consent agenda. Item A, approval of amendment number 1 for contract number 1460 with Parametrics Incorporated for engineering analysis of the Sedona Drive detention pipe. The amendment value is $39,378 and increases the total contract value to $154,798. Funding is through Water Environment Services Surface Water Construction Funds. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the Water Environment Services Board of Directors consent agenda.
All right, do any of the directors want to remove anything from the agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
I move we approve the West consent agenda.
Second.
All right, thank you. Director Helm has moved to approve the West consent agenda. Commissioner Director Savis has seconded that. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, will you please call the poll again?
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Commissioner Savis.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
Okay, now I will adjourn as the Water Environment Services Board of Directors and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. Gary?
Thank you. Next is County Administrator Update. That is me. I'd like to share the great work of our county employees during my time. Today, I'd like to recognize our Office of Disaster Management here at Clackamas County. Among other activities, our Office of Disaster Management helps prepare our communities for times when there may be an unexpected disaster, and that includes running training exercises with the local community to prepare for such events. Last month, Disaster Management brought in representatives from over 30 local public safety agencies to participate in a simulation of a wildfire event and evacuation on Mount Hood. What made this training difficult is that normally the Federal Emergency Management Agency supports us in this effort by giving us about 4 to 5 staff, but due to budget reductions at the federal level, FEMA did not participate in this training, so our staff did it all themselves and did a fantastic job. In particular, training and exercise coordinator Johnny Lewis with our Office of Disaster Management received some really great comments I'd like to share with you. First, and this is from a local chaplain of one of our public safety agencies. I have been involved in disaster response since 2011, and I would rank this exercise up there with one another as far as how well it was planned. High marks. In the event of such a reality in our county, I think all participants will be more ready than ever because of this training exercise. Hats off to Johnny and the rest of the Clackamas Disaster Management team. Clackamas Fire sent this note. I'm writing to commend Johnny Lewis for designing and conducting last week's Mount Hood Great Escape exercise, which was exceptional by any measure. As an experienced exercise designer and practitioner, I can say unequivocally that Johnny's work on this exercise was both meticulous as well as extraordinarily collaborative. Our county is safer because Johnny and your team are doing the work day in and day out to prepare the community and strengthen readiness and resilience. Thank you to Johnny and the entire disaster management team that all year long is preparing for the worst so that when or if it does happen, we are ready to support our community. That is my update for today. Back to you, Chair.
All right, up is Commissioner Communication, and I'm going to turn to my right to Commissioner Schrader.
Well, thank you, Chair. I just want to make a comment about some of the things that we've been doing on the consent agenda. And then I've seen that we're giving a lot of money to the community, good money, good work for our community centers for senior citizens. And it occurred to me as I was looking how we're doing that I am a senior citizen. I don't know how I got here, but I am a senior, and I'm appreciative of the fact that this county supports all of our senior centers in this county. Pretty much. It gives a place for older adults to go, have a meal, have classes, and a gathering place where they can build community with one another. So just wanted to mention that popped out at me. And we had a number of groundbreakings this week. And I know that my colleagues will also talk about that. But the first one was the Clackamas Heights groundbreaking, and that's Front Avenue, Oregon City. And I remember years ago walking door to door when it was World War II housing. And as you know, it was old. It has really been past its lifespan. And finally, and we had been working on this for a number of years. I think, Paul, you were here. We had Chuck Robbins. All of these ideas that we had back then about densifying and improving our housing stock and moving it from public to, to really open it up has really finally happened. And I'm glad I've been around long enough to see that happen. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful complex, and it's going to be denser, but it will have open space. It will have areas for kids to play. And in every way, I'm glad that we are working on that particular project and glad it's happening. And then last night, we had, an evening it was all about housing last night, I think. Recovery Campus, community meeting. And again, this is thanks to Ben West and my colleagues here that supported this, that we are now moving ahead with a recovery campus that's based on the trip we took to Haven for Hope in Texas. And we saw what they did and how they move people through a continuum of care. It's in a neighborhood. We had a number of citizens there, asking questions, and I think we've allayed a lot of their fears. I honestly think that new complex is going to be an asset for the community and even potentially raise property values. And we did talk about maybe bringing some people some folks in the community came up to me afterwards and said, would you like to bring folks to visit our campus that we already have? I think it's in Multnomah. And I think, you're nodding your head, Diana, because I think that's a great idea, because they'll see that it's open, they'll see that it's safe, they see that it's contained. It's an amenity with open space and gardens. And actually, I think the site that we have, there was some trepidation, but I think the community, by and large, is on board with it. And we're going to get to move to one of the most innovative ideas, Commissioner West, that we've had in this county for years and years and years. And other than that, that's what I've got for today. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Salvis.
Yeah, just real quickly, something I'm compelled to just mention. I appreciate Commissioner Schrader bringing up senior citizens. I guess I, too, am one of those, right?
Yep, yeah, we are. We're young at heart.
Yeah, exactly.
There you
The one anomaly here in the state of Oregon is that senior citizens are usually funded or a function of a city.
Yeah.
And the anomaly here in the area that I live is we have NCPRD who is providing those services, and that's
Correct, right.
That's an
Absolutely.
anomaly.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping maybe that the new community center that we opened last year in the heavily populated area that it resides in is that those services are there too, because it's within walking distance. And actually, some of those people, I drive by there every day. Sometimes it's their grandparents that are taking their kids to the park, right?
Yeah.
And there's the complementary asset of the community center on that same property. So it just seems to be a natural place to, at some point, expand services, but that's not in a city. So that would kind of grow that anomaly to some degree. Last night, I appreciate the it was a good meeting, I thought. Good discussion back and forth. But in my conversations in the last week, it occurred to me, and even last night, really the same thing is that, you know, over my 15 years, I have seen paper media, you know, pamphlet media, the Oregonian, their ability to respond and have a lot of local stories has diminished, right? Because their economics, right? They have really cut back significantly, and so their print presence and their reporting, you know, due to economics, has really been pulled back significantly, and it occurred to me that a lot of people, and last night was not an exception, their source of media, probably right now, for a lot of this stuff, especially when it relates to homelessness, successes or not, is what they see on TV. And what they see on TV is pretty well Portland, right? They're not really covering a lot of the stories in Hillsborough or Washington County or Clackamas County. Their source is the, you know, shelter opens, shelter closes, facility opens, facility closes. So they're seeing this cycle. They're seeing this, basically some of the negativity. And I think we did a good job last night of telling people, you know, we're not that, and we are successful here. But good news doesn't make the news, right? The success stories we have, doesn't really rise to that level. So, as I've told people in the past, I'm happy to send you to places and you can see that where our operations are, we're having successes. We're not having this, you know, loitering or encampments and so forth surrounding the facility. So I think we did a good job trying to bring that to awareness and emphasizing the value of the Good Neighbor Plan. So I want to thank all my colleagues for being there last night. That was powerful. It shows that we cared, and I think each of you made brilliant comments. I want to just thank all of you for the comments that you made last night. The other issue, and I don't know if staff are going to bring it to us under issues next week or the following week, but the issue about the interstate bridge and the approval that's pending at JPAC, which will be on the 18th, I believe, Thursday, is at a heightened state. And as I've done before, and I've asked staff to retrieve and bring to us when we have that issues item before us, past communications we have sent to ODOT for over 20 years. And one of them was signed by then Chair Lynn Peterson. Doesn't really matter who signed it, but our theme and our issue has been consistent. If you're going to toll the interstate bridge, you need to do something about the diversion on the I-205. Later this summer, they're going to shut down I-5 for 5 weeks, right? And that will demonstrate reality as to what that looks like. However, this vote is before then, so we won't have that example. I'm going to be coming to you because there's a lot of political pressure, and as I was asked by one of our state senators over the weekend, you know, what are you going to do with this vote? I said, well, I represent the county commissioners, so I will, as always, I will go to them and ask them how they want to vote on this issue. I'm going to play my cards out right now is that the past commission has in the past, not again, but in the recent past has said, this issue is not resolved. We're on the record of stating that. Therefore, we either abstain or oppose. So I just want to lay that out to you. And an idea struck me, and I'll be the new project manager for this is works for WashDOT or is on contract to the state. And I'm going to ask them if they have a solution that could be not an Oregon solution, but a Washington state solution to resolve this. I know their laws are a little bit different, but I'm just hopeful that we can find a way. And I do know that the businesses along I-205 in Portland, in Multnomah County, are also concerned about this. They don't want the diversion and spillage into their local streets and neighborhoods and the safety issues that go along with it. Paul, am a supporter, knowing that bridge and increasing capacity on that bridge is an issue. I support fixing the bridge. How we go about it and how we deal with this diversion, which could last years and years and years, by the way. This is not a one-year project. This is going to be several years. Has got to be resolved. And if not, I'm going to have a hard time supporting it. So I just want to give you a heads up, that's coming. And lastly, with regard to last week, something that had come up, and I've mentioned this before over and over and over, and I'm hoping I can sit down and have a good conversation with the beverage, with the chair, about a retreat that is not about these priorities, because these are all kind of external priorities, right? These are about what we want to do in the community. But the issue around having metrics and having a dashboard, or whether or not it's a dashboard, I don't really care about a dashboard as much as I care as having the metrics in some form. So then we do budget, or we do approve something where it's based on measurement, right? Metrics, how's that performing? And I've been here a long time, and I'm adamant that we get there. But that's just me. And I think that having a retreat, not about these bigger things, because I agree with everything on here, but about our internal processes, that being one of them, how we improve in light of the fact that the financial pressures were going to force us to make these decisions. And I want to have good metrics to make those very tough decisions, as opposed to currently somewhat being disconnected. There's a lot of great work this county does. We have departments that have expertise. I have no idea how those programs are working as far as effectiveness. And I think we're going to need that. So I leave you with that thought. It was really part of the principle of getting behind the strategic plan and having that, so that we could be, again, internally having those metrics to say this is a program worth supporting in the future. That said, Chair, I yield back.
All right, thank you. Commissioner West.
Thank you, Chair. It was a little surreal to walk into the little church across from the Future Recovery Campus and to see what's been a labor of love and a dream and a real idea, to actually see pictures, of it actually happening. And 3.5 years ago isn't that long ago. I remember Commissioner Savas, when I first got on the board, and I said, we got to do it now. And he goes, the soonest you'll see it done is 3 to 4 years. Commissioner West was like, that's insane. What do you mean? And so, but it's being done the right way. Do you remember that conversation? I was just, chomping at the bit to get everything built now, faster, crisis. And then, as the elder statesman in many ways, and much more experienced than myself, you gave me a little dose of reality. But now looking back from where we started to where this county is no small feat. And to have played some role in that was very humbling. And just to see the pictures and have that opportunity to address the community members who graciously trusted us and gave us their tax dollars to build that infrastructure that was needed was really amazing. I can't wait to see how it operates and when that ribbon cutting happens. And we know hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people's lives will be improved because of those bold actions that we took that were so much different than anywhere else. It was, we charted a different course. We did it our own way and how we thought would best serve our community and lead. We were bold enough to look outside of Oregon to see where can we get ahead of this and what needs to be done. Before I got on this board, Commissioner Savas and Commissioner Martha Schrader were strong and principled enough to not spend money they didn't have. I don't think the recovery campus happens without that decision. I don't think the county would have been as ready to take on this project if you hadn't cut your teeth on the Veterans Village in a successful way. Yeah. Way before we were even talking about recovery campuses or recovery systems, or, housing first was a thing back then, but this transitional housing was so novel in its own right because everything was about housing first, which really divested and moved away from transitional housing as a policy, but you guys were very innovative in your pilot project, which has been wildly successful. And so I just want to say it was really a great personal moment to see what we all achieved yesterday. And then I just feel so blessed that the board, this iteration of it and the previous iteration of the board, allowed us to go in that direction, even when we were took against a lot of headwinds. And so I think that showed real leadership on this board's behalf. I'm glad to have been part of on the ride along with it, and I enjoyed last night specifically with. We had 2 meetings just for the public. If they don't know, we met with legislators and electeds first. That is what it was, whatever. But then we met with the citizens and the community members and the businesses surrounding the area and just worked to build that goodwill. We all showed up. That's a big deal. Just all of us there. I agree with Commissioner Savas. And so it was pretty, for me, I mean, it was just impactful to see it where it is today. And that groundbreaking is going to happen shortly here. And I think, we have more work to do, but we have a lot to be proud of. So thank you, colleagues, and thank you to the previous board, which I'm sure those commissioners are off doing other things today and not listening to our meeting. But thank you, Chair Smith and Commissioner Scholl, and who were on that, who were a part of the beginning of that process on that board too. So a lot of leaders stepped out to make that happen, and it's just really, really great. So I'll leave it at that, but I look forward to the next few months as this thing rolls out. So thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Commissioner Hill.
Yeah, as momentous as the groundbreaking was at Clackamas Heights yesterday, and just to see this 16 to 18 acres, it's all going to be cottage clusters of 1 to 4 bedroom homes that are going to house a lot of people who were relocated and to make a new community or reinstate the community that was there. It was very touching, but it also struck me that we need so many more of these. And to your point, Commissioner West, we can't build them fast enough.
Yeah.
We need more of this. And it's heartbreaking to see the people that are on the verge of homelessness. And I don't know how to make it happen faster. It's one of the most frustrating things about government is how slow things work. But, if we can partner with others that can speed this up. I mean, we're I feel in dire straits right now, and it's just getting worse. So it was a happy moment. It's fun to see that type of project happening and all the people that are involved and how it's going to change lives and the kind of community with the amenities that are going to be there. It's going to be fabulous, and I can't wait to visit it after it's done and talk to some of the people that are moving back in. So that was exciting. The Recovery Campus community meeting was interesting. As I said last night, I'm coming into this with all of you having started this project, and I'm thrilled to be part of it. There were a lot of questions, and I think it's great what you said, Commissioner Schrader, that I think Fora Health should open their doors for tours because it really did, like I said, alleviated a lot of my concerns, my fears about what that neighborhood is going to be like and how it's going to impact the businesses and residents and those around it. I guess what struck me at the end of the evening was the director of Fora was talking about, there's people in recovery in this room, and I'm not going to call you out. Well, they called themselves out. They spoke up at the very, very end and said how excited they are for this project to happen, that they're one of those people that these businesses are afraid of. And these are young, these couple of them were young women with kids that have been through the CSAP program, which is mandated, but some of them have been in recovery and have had mental health issues, and they're back living in society like like a normal average person wants to feel when they go through recovery. So those things kind of struck me the most as how we view that community and how much help they need and how much we can help support them. So I'm really proud of the project, and I really can't wait to see it done. And Commissioner West, you will be back for the ribbon cutting for that, because you did spearhead this project, and I can't give you enough kudos for pushing to see it through. This is going to be life-changing for many, many people. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Back to you, Chair.
All right. Well, a few topics. The one I wanted to start off with was what my colleagues have talked about is the community meeting yesterday. And I really think that's what it's about, being a good listener. And we had a lot of questions. Hopefully, we provided a lot of answers. There's still more work to do. And really, it is very exciting. I think when I look at kind of where we're at, and I know Commissioner West can agree with me on this, it's really about all of us working together to make a difference. And it has been from the governor to the legislature to our leaders in Salem that have given us money, and really about everybody coming together around such an important cause. And as I said yesterday, and Diana Helm kind of touched on it, is I'll be honest with you, nothing kind of inspires me more than to hear somebody that has gone and walked in those footsteps of having to go through recovery. It's a very difficult process and takes a lot of fortitude and to really turn their lives around. And so when we hear people, it's inspiring to know that by a program like this, we can turn lives around. And some of the issues that were brought forward really were, wow, this looks like the Taj Mahal and looks very nice. But really, the point I'm trying to make is we have seniors that are struggling with addiction, right? And a wide population where the CSAP program, for example, is those that have criminal records. And I always felt like, oh my gosh, do you have to become a criminal to get treatment? It doesn't make any sense to me, and the forethought. And so to me, as I appreciate my colleagues here that have been working on this, come a long way. We have a long ways to go, and there's a lot of other things we're discussing about that campus and what it can be to really support our community. I think the one thing I did want to kind of be direct, and we had some citizens that talked about they're concerned about both local and state response on mental health issues. And I will say we have a long way to go on that, and wanted to validate a lot of the concerns that they were having. We are doing a lot. I think we all can figure out how to kind of do more, and some issues we're kind of facing on that front. The other thing that I think was apparent to all of us too was, I'm going to just call it out, there were complaints about some homeless vehicles and some other stuff down there. And I've already kind of been on the phone with the sheriff. I talked to Gary this morning. I said, I believe they have valid concerns down there, that we really need to come together and do what we can to make sure we're addressing that before this facility opens or the construction starts. And so we don't want any contributing factors to hinder the success of this program. So I heard some citizens loud and clear, there's some concerns down there, and I'm confident we can address those. So that was one of the things. Again, thanks to all my colleagues on all the work they've done. And then the one thing I wanted to mention, kind of responding to Commissioner Savis's comment about the matrix, and I'm all about matrix, and that is why I so much believed in managing for results. And I know, at least when I was sheriff, and I know with some of the meetings, that we've continued to improve those matrix. And I think what probably hasn't happened is some presentations to the board to kind of show these matrix. So I think and I would turn to Gary kind of to maybe comment on that, but I know not all the departments, but I know a lot of departments do have the matrix that I think would be beneficial to have a presentation on it. Gary, what are your thoughts on that? I want to kind of address what Paul brought.
Some departments are using the same matrix metrics from the original performance Clackamas Managing for Results, but not all. It's not consistent. I asked you at the Budget Committee, let me come back to you with a proposal of what it looks like that you can react to, and I will work on that. Thank you.
So I think you'll be impressed in some areas where there are some really, I think, good matrix, and other areas where I think we can improve. So I'm not saying everything's perfect, but I think that's something we can definitely talk about. All right, so kind of moving on, just a couple quick announcements. I know many of my colleagues, Martha in particular, is the Oregon Military Museum. We've worked on
Yeah.
that, right? And the Oregon Military Museum at Camp Withigam is hosting a Living History Day, present to
Saturday.
past. It's from 10 to 4 on June 13th. It's free, and they have amazing military vehicles, equipment, technology, and everything. And if you haven't been there, it is absolutely amazing. And it's located at 15300 Minuteman Way in Clackamas, and encourage you to check it out. And the next thing is, has to do with Martha again. I'm going to pick on her. You probably don't know about this, Martha, but I know she's going, oh, what are you coming at me now for? All right. Well, guess what? June is pollination month. I'm going to get you there, Martha.
Great.
One to mention, so this is for you. June is National Pollination Month. Commissioner Schrader has been working for a while to draw attention to this issue, and I believe we'll be initiating a pollination garden soon on the campus.
Yeah.
And just a few quick facts. Bees, butterflies, birds, and other animals support 35% of the global food production and 75% of the world's flowering plants. So spring in Oregon is a great time to build habitats and plant native species. So my hat's off to you
Thank you
for
for
carrying that forward, and pollination month.
We don't have food if we don't have bees and other creatures.
Right, and that's your background.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Loved it.
anyway, with that, anything else, Gary, before we wrap this
No.
up? So, okay, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, thank you for joining us this morning, and this meeting is adjourned.